Hey there, LEGO fans! This is the brand new LEGO DeLorean set number 10300. I think it's branded as Back to the Future Time Machine or something like that. I know most of us are going to call it the DeLorean. Doesn't matter. It has 1,872 pieces, and yes, you can build any of the three versions of the car using the pieces in the set. How does that work? Well, if you've built the Porsche 911 from Creator Expert previously, it's basically the same system. You have some spare parts which you use to build some of the sub-assemblies that differ from one model to the other, and you also reuse some of the parts. Now, how big is it? Again, I'm going to draw a comparison to the Porsche because it's very similar in size. I unfortunately do not have the Porsche in the studio with me right now. What I do have is the Volkswagen T2 camper van. You may have been able to tell by the surfboard over there. And it's lengthwise, it's kind of the same. It's almost exactly the same, actually, in length. It has fewer pieces than the camper van, but don't let that fool you. This is a very dense build, and it is a very interesting and very fun build. I did not get bored at all while building this, even for the symmetrical parts, the repetitive parts. It has very good of flow, I guess I would say. All right, let's look at some of the features. Now, the hood for the car as it appears in the first two movies is very simple, very straightforward. But in the third movie, we have this crate full of, I don't know, scientific thingamabobs that Doc Brown builds while he's out in the Wild West. They're strapped to the hood of the car right there, and you reuse some of these parts to create the other versions. Under the hood, we have Marty's hoverboard. It's just attached with one stud over there. It's a very small, simple build with one big sticker running across the top. And we also have Doc Brown's suitcase of plutonium. It says handle with care right there. I don't know, I find that very funny. It just seems like such an understatement. Plutonium handle with care. Anyway, inside you can see the vials of plutonium. I think it would have been better if they went with transparent red for the actual plutonium there, but I mean, I guess it's fine. Now, of course, this car has to have the trademark gull wing doors, and it does. You can open them up like so. Unfortunately, on my model, the doors don't stay up. This might be a part tolerance thing. Yours might stay up if you're lucky. I'm not so sure that it's a bad thing. I mean, it looks pretty cool when they glide down very slowly. It looks like it's actuated, like hydraulically or something. So I'm not gonna count that as a fault. But looking at the interior, you can see the dashboard there with the time console, and it specifies the exact date and time that Doc Brown sends Einstein back, well, not back, but forward into the future by 1 minute. You have the steering wheel there. It is not connected to a steering system. There is no steering system on this car, actually, because they did something which, in my opinion, is a lot cooler. You have rotating wheels. You can actually switch between the drive mode and the flying mode, which we see in the second movie, using this red lever over here. It's very snappy, it works very well, and it looks really cool. Honestly, I would rather have this than steering any day. The rims are also different because, as we know, in the third movie they changed those up, and I've put both types on here so you can see them. On the left is the version which appears in Back to the Future Part 3, and on the right is the one that appears in Part 1 and 2. All you have to do is just change the rubber part from one rim to the other and you're done. Going back to the cabin, we have the time circuit activation lever, I guess, over here, and behind it is the all-important flux capacitor. Now, this one has a light brick behind it, and you can activate it right there. You can see the light coming through, and I really like how the light projects through the flux capacitor and onto the dashboard in the front. It really gives off a very distinct vibe that I like. Let's take a look at the back, and you can see the button where you activate the light brick. Above it is the power conduit hook antenna thingy that they use in the first movie to touch the power lines right at the moment when the car hits 88 miles per hour. Further back is the nuclear reactor that you need to power the car in the first movie, and that, of course, gets replaced by Mr. Fusion in the second and third movies. You can open Mr. Fusion up, and the set includes pieces so you can build this soda can and this banana. You just throw those in there and Mr. Fusion is going to generate power using them. This here is the license plate, and I do want to say this is the most difficult part to replace from one version to the other. I couldn't find any other way than tearing some stuff apart and just pushing the plate out from behind. Yeah, it's a bit of a hassle, but it can be done. It just takes a minute. I do have to mention these new parts over here. They're double sloped, lengthwise sloped as well. It's a really weird part. It feels like it's been custom made just for this car, but I'm sure we're gonna see it in future models as well. Here, let me just take it out for a second so you can see it better. There you go. Moving on to the minifigures, here we have Marty McFly and Doc Brown as they appear in the second movie. I just want to say the printing on the side of the legs for Marty is just absolutely amazing. It's some of the best and most detailed printing I've ever seen on a minifigure so far. Doc Brown wears his yellow coat. I guess it's not a lab coat anymore, but it's very distinctive. It looks really nice. We also have an information plate right there with the 1.21 gigawatts. Remember, that's how you have to pronounce them in the Back to the Future universe. 1.21 gigawatts right there. And that's about all the info I have for you in this video. I hope this was useful to you. As a conclusion, I just want to say I really enjoyed building this car. I was very sad when I was done building it. I wished it could have went on for just a little longer. It was so interesting and fun to build. Like I said, it flows really well. Another very cool thing that I want to highlight and that LEGO deserves praise for is the fact that they shipped this windshield right here in its own separate foil. It is not placed in a bag with hard plastic bricks, so there's absolutely no chance of it getting scratched or scuffed anymore, which is really good because I had a very poor experience with the windshields for the LEGO Mustang a few years ago. So thank you, LEGO, for finally thinking of that. I don't know why they didn't do that from the start, but there you go. Better late than never. The set does include a few stickers, but they aren't many. They're not tough to apply. It's really nice. I mean, for a build like this, I really don't mind just taking a break every now and then, applying a sticker. It does have some printed parts, including the DMC logo here on the front. So yeah, it's not a complaint, just information for everyone out there. So thank you very much for watching. This is the new LEGO DeLorean. I absolutely love it, and I think you're gonna love it too if you're a fan of Back to the Future. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy building.